Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your June 14th, 2022 Supermoon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Alright, Capricorn, I don't know why, but January keeps on coming up. January is all I keep on hearing. I don't know if something happened in January or if there's something that's going to happen in January, but that just keeps on coming up very strongly. So just keep that in mind during this reading. Okay, so let's start off by looking at, let's move this amethyst forward. Let's start off by looking at the energy that we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. So we have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is saying we are going to be on guard. There is an energy here that's like, okay, I'm ready for a fight. I'm ready for things to get chaotic, for things to fight, for things to be overwhelming, and for me to constantly have to be on my guard. Now, what's very interesting about this time is that, yes, it's a supermoon, which means first and foremost that it's going to enhance everything that is happening during this time. It's going to amplify everything. The supermoon is in Sagittarius, and it is also a time where our dreams feel much more real, we're focusing on them much more than we are the reality. So our dreams feel more real than the reality that we're in. So just be aware of this. What we're dreaming of, what we're working towards, what we deeply desire within ourselves feels more real than the reality that we are in. And we can almost feel like it's a battle between the waking world and our dreams, between what we have to go through every day and where we want to be at our end goal. So just be aware of this. I'm seeing it as something that we're not usually used to. We're used to being able to departmentalize or really categorize certain things. So that's going to be a very important thing to be aware of. Also, Mercury is entering into Gemini. The sun is in Gemini. Gemini is the questioner. Sagittarius is the philosopher. And we're kind of the reason, the reasoner, the person whose feet are firmly planted on the ground, who looks at the knowledge, who looks at the, kind of stats at everything and makes their conclusions. But with the Gemini energy and Mercury energy being so amplified here, because of course Mercury rules Gemini, we have communication and travel at the forefront of our minds. So we could be really kind of like have a wanderlust to us, have itchy feet, kind of like, I want to move forward, I want to go somewhere, I want to see different things. And we also want to talk to everyone, or we're reading a lot into the communications that we have. So do be aware of that. But it always feels like everything's on edge right now. So just be aware of this. Because the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Sagittarius, these are sister signs. So either they feel right at home with each other, or it brings a certain tension forward. So again, being aware of that can be very helpful for us. Let's look at the energy, the chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Here we have play. We have the heart chakra. We really need to let our heart chakras shine forward, to let ourselves really engage with what we love and what we want, and letting play be at the forefront of our existence. Like really embracing joy, embracing laughter, playing, just having fun is just going to be very important for us during this time, because we will be taking things so seriously and we can feel that things are so combative, like so kind of at odds with each other. And remember, we as human beings, we don't play unless we feel safe. So it's also saying feel safe, feel calmed within your surroundings, because then you will be able to let go. Then you'll be able to have fun and laugh and really let joy in. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And spirit guides, angels. And spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Okay, and this bonus card right here. So let's see what the cards have to say. Okay. So here we're starting off, and our bonus card. We're starting off with where we are right now, and this is a time to take action. And we're going to really feel like we need to be in the midst of everything. And what Spirit is really saying here is kind of like step back and see what it is that you really want. Because even though it's time to take action, we need to judge wisely at what that action should be. We're kind of going to take the most bulldozery approach possible. So just be aware of that we're going to kind of want to go in there and just kind of like, it just kind of like lasso everything, kind of get everything all in neat little lines, but make everything into kind of like this one pile first and then organize it all out. That's what I'm seeing here. So just be aware that at this time, we're not going to be able to get everything as contained or as controlled as we would like it to be. And taking action is also saying, okay, it is time for me to really look at the way that I want to move forward, to where I need to be, to what I desire, and be very calculating on the action that I'm taking, on my distinct way forward. Now, our challenge is our resilience. There's something here where we're just tired. We're just tired. We're a bit overwhelmed. And there's this fight between the dream self and the reality. So here, when we're looking at our resilience, our ability to carry the world tree on our back and really move ourselves forward, go after what it is that we want, find where it is that we want to kind of like set down roots in ourselves and in our imagining, this becomes a time, a bit of conflict for us, because we're thinking, how resilient do I have to be? Like, how long do I have to be carrying this? How much time and effort and energy do I need to be putting into everything? So there's just a weariness that's coming forward that we need to be aware of. And it can also be that we're taking everything so seriously, or we're pushing ourselves so hard that we're burning the candle, not just from both ends, but from the sides as well. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like it becomes overwhelming. What to focus on is balance spiritual and the practical. And that's just going to be really important for us, to balance our spiritual self, our dream self, what it is that we desire, but also to make sure that there's a space for the spiritual. I myself personally am very spiritual. Life has to have a spiritual rhythm to it. It doesn't matter necessarily what spiritual rhythm that is, but it has to have a center of respect and of love and of harmony and of beauty and of like this deeper connection with the world and people. And that's where I feel most at home. Now, the balancing the spiritual and the practical is, what does spirituality mean for you? Where do you feel most at home within your spiritual practices? And are there any? Because if there aren't any, Spirit is saying here, you need to kind of center yourself into them. And then the practical is like, okay, how do I take the vision of what I want for my world and make it into my world? How do I combine these two? Which is kind of where we're coming into conflict with during this time, because we have the vision of what we want, and yet we're asking ourselves, how do I move this forward to where I need to be for me? It then moves us to our past, which is all about surrender. Things have happened that have been completely out of our control. We have had to surrender to them. And we have to see through that surrendering where we go, what we develop in our lives, how we develop in our lives, what it is that we want, what it is that we're looking for. So our past was all about instances that we couldn't control, and we had to surrender. Now, either we've learned to surrender, or we're still kind of battling that surrendering, because we think, okay, if I can, just kind of make a good enough plan or keep everything super organized or have everybody on my side, then we'll be able to get to where I want to be. And Spirit is saying here, no, you need to surrender. You need to open up to what divinity, what our angels, even what the moon, like with its tides and its waves and its way of being is guiding us towards. It leads us then towards our strength. It is time to give rather than to take. It is a time for us, and this is going to be our greatest strength, to give up, to give of our time, to give of our energy, to give of, what we really want, rather than to say, okay, I'm taking this all in. I need to take this in and hoard this into myself and make it work. Here it's, I need to give up my energy. I need to see through doing. Doing is going to be very important, where it is that I can be and how it is that I can move forward for me. So that is, again, going to be very, very, very important for us. How is it that I can give up my energy, give up my time? And giving of our energy and time can also be to ourselves. Instead of thinking, okay, I need to, be around really positive people because then I feel charged up from their positivity, but they feel drained, So we're giving to ourselves. We're taking, right? Instead of giving and building the energy that we want and the place that we want to be. I hope that makes sense. It moves us then to our near future, which is faith. To have faith within ourselves, to build, to grow, to see things moving forward in a direction that we've begun to doubt. We really have begun to doubt it. It's like, I don't know if I can create this. I don't know if it can move forward this way. I don't know if I can do it. And Spirit's saying here, if you feed, right? If she feeds her pregnant belly, which is of the earth, right? With only doubt and fear, you have an earth only of doubt and fear. So what we are feeding ourselves, what we are feeding our guts, what we are feeding our minds is what we are growing. So we have to just be very aware of that. It leads us to our suggested approach to situations, which is to know that luck is on our side, to know that something greater, something bigger is working here for us than just us, which brings us to what we need to know. And this is the realization that we ourselves, because you see the person right here, we ourselves are the key. And we walk through this giant keyhole, right? All the questions, everything that we've been through. And it's like, no, you're the key. And you might feel so small in comparison to all the questions and everything that needs to get done. But you are the answer. So just knowing within ourselves here, Capricorn, that we hold more answers than we ever thought possible, which brings us to our hopes and our fears, which is, do we have Libra? Why did I want to say another Libra energy? Libra's coming through very strongly right here, right now. And I don't know why that is, so just take note of that. And it can be for balance, but it can also be the time frame of September 23rd to October 22nd. And I don't know why that's coming through so strongly, which is a win-win outcome is forecasted. We hope that there's a win-win outcome. We hope that there's prosperity and abundance and bounty. And yet we fear that there isn't. That, nothing can be controlled, nothing can be fully understood, and that it's all just out there in the world for however it turns out. And it brings us then to our potential future, which is hunger. We want what we hunger for, what we're driving ourselves towards, to come out prosperously. And there's a sense here of, but I've hungered for it for so long. What happens if I get it and it doesn't meet my expectations? So there's a lot of internal struggle here. There's a lot of doubt and fear. It's like, well, what if I get it and I can't kind of pull it off? And Spirit is saying, you're still feeding that belly, right? You're still feeding your earth, yourself, with negativity. And I know how hard it is to imagine the prosperous, but I really suggest, in the description box below, there's the book, The Power and the Promise, I think is what it's called. It's the first link, and I think it says, book. Listen to that, because it talks to us about how we can imagine a more positive, prosperous, bountiful future, because our bonus card is creation. What we are thinking of, what we are focusing on is what we are creating. And this becomes a very powerful time for us to look at what we are creating, where it is that we want to be, how creation and us work together, because it's in tandem. Our dreams are coming so close to the surface during this time that it is overwhelming to us. And we're going to be tested. Yeah, it's tested because it's kind of like, we're so used to working in the realm of reality that when the dreams come forward and feel more real than the reality that we are in, it makes us question what we're doing or if we're headed in the right direction. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. All right, so where we are right now is the Queen of Wands. So when it says here, it's time to take action, we have such a fiery presence forward. There's also an energy of stepping into the sacred feminine, to stepping into that energy of ourselves. And I love to do the exercise when the sacred feminine or the sacred masculine comes forward and to say, what energy are you more used to channeling for yourself? And the exercise that I like to do with this is just imagine yourself as a child and your parents standing before you, or your caregivers, or, you know, whomever raised you standing before you. Who do you run to? Do you run to neither of them? Because then both can be challenging. Do you run do you run to the female caregiver, the male caregiver? Do you run to, the parent? Which parent? How is it that you move forward? How is it that you connect to this energy? Because with the sacred feminine coming forward, with the sign of fire, and this is Aries energy here, right? The new moon in Aries. There's such powerful fire, feminine energy coming, meaning that this person is a firecracker. The energy that we're connecting with is this firecracker, powerful energy, presence that moves us forward. We need to connect with it. We need to embrace it because our magic is coming forward during this time. And as our magic comes forward, it leads us to the energy that we're having a hard time with, and it is the King of Cups, and it's resilience. But it is also that connection with our emotional energy and being able to be emotionally present with ourselves and connect with our dreams. Because remember, this is a time where we're finding bringing our dreams into reality or being so connected with what it is subconsciously that we want to be very overwhelming. We're looking at our dreams and thinking, I don't know if this is possible. So here, it's knowing that it is possible and knowing that we will get a break. We will be able to let down the heavy load that we carry. It brings us to what we're focusing on, and this is the Ace of Wands. So we're taking this gift because we have the Queen of Wands right here from the same deck, right? So we definitely take this gift, and to balance the spiritual and the practical, we need to look at what we are passionate about, what the fire within us is calling us towards, how we are illuminating ourselves, how we are moving forward towards what we want, how our passion, what brings us forward in our day-to-day life is igniting our excitement, is igniting ourselves. And it brings us then to our past, which is the Ace of Pentacles. Now, this is a gift from God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, especially for us. It is a gift of planting the seeds of what we really want, of our blessings, of our gifts, of our talents, and knowing here that they are growing, knowing here that they are taking root, but also knowing that in the waking world, we're not really seeing that as much as we are inwardly. And that's why the surrender has been so hard, because the surrendering was all about the root system, was all about sustaining ourselves and growing ourselves deeply. And then what everybody else can see, that comes later. And so it's like an oak, right? Oaks start by setting out all their roots, complex root systems. And then what's up on top is just a little tiny itsy bitsy plant that you think, oh, that's nothing, I'll just pull it out. But it has that complex root system that goes so much deeper than you can imagine. It brings us then to our strength, which is the sun. There is a radiance, there is a brilliance to us, there is a duality to this time, which would explain why we're so drawn to Gemini. All right, well, we're so drawn to the sun's energy. And it says it's time to give rather than take. It is time to give of our light, give of our passion, give of what we desire, rather than taking and taking and taking and trying to build up that light within us without letting any of it out. Now is the time to shine. It's going to be our greatest strength. So while we're struggling, while we could be doubting and fearing and being overwhelmed, people aren't really going to see that. Capricorn, people are going to really look at you and say, well, you got this all under control, or, you really are kind of standing out in a way that you haven't before. Don't worry, you're okay. It then moves us to our near future, which is the Three of Pentacles and faith. So as we're growing what it is that we desire, we have to align ourselves with the people who have stood by us, not by the people who have betrayed us. There is a sense here of kind of finding allies in the wrong people. They'll say the right things, but they will not be people who will actually have our backs. So we have to be aware of this. And knowing that as we move forward in the future, it's like, okay, who has had my back? Who has been there when I needed help? Who is always there for me to call on? That's going to be important. It then moves us to our suggested approach, which is the Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups, with luck is on our side, is the minor arcana Gemini energy. It's healing, beautiful love. It's a connection. It's an understanding. It's a balancing of ourselves while we take aim, while it is that we see what we want. And not what we want, but we see what it is that we want to achieve. And the energy here of Sagittarius is very strong because this is the new moon in Sagittarius. So we are taking aim. We are going after what we want. We are looking at things in a much more powerful, much more profound way for ourselves. And it is amplified by a philosophical, spirit during this time. It moves us to our realization. And our realization here, as we look at what we need to know, is that we have the Ace of Cups. And we take that gift of the Ace of Cups because we have the King of Cups right here. So right at the center of us, we have the gift of the Ace of Wands, right, at where we are. And then our challenge, we have a gift of the Ace of Cups with the King of Cups. So what we need to know right here, right now, is that God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, is handing us a gift of love, of healing, of peace, of serenity, of a centering of ourselves as we realize that we hold a lot more power than we ever thought we did. And that as we connect with our hearts, we see where it is that we have longed to be, what it is that we have longed to be. What did I put? Oh, right there. Okay. It moves us then to our hopes and our fears. So this is Judgment. Oh, that's interesting. And Judgment is a win-win outcome, is forecast. But we are looking at ourselves and saying, I hope a win-win outcome is forecast and I get to be kind of resurrected, a phoenix rising from the ashes. But we fear that we will be judged more harshly than we can almost stand. And we fear that the judgment will not be what we need or what our soul wants or where it is that we're headed. So just be aware of this, that a win-win outcome is forecast and that we hope to be resurrected into a new power, into a new sense of self, into a new focus. But we fear that that just won't be coming. And it brings us then to our potential future, which is justice. And that justice comes in, and that's what we're hungering for, which is interesting because the win-win outcome is Libra energy. Justice is Libra energy. So we need to be very aware that this justice, this balance is coming in, that we're not in it alone, that there is what we have been hungering for. It does hold a power and a purpose and an insight and a profound potential for us. We've been hungering for justice. We've been hungering for balance. We've been hungering for discernment. What energy do I let into my life? What energy don't I let into my life? Meaning we've been looking for, I don't want to say barriers because that's not the right word, but it's, what the heck is the word for it? It's being discerning. It's like, I will let this into my life. I will not let that into my life. I will have these standards, these rules for me as I move forward. And that justice, that being just and fair to ourselves is what we hunger for, but also that justice, that being seen for who we truly are and where it is that we need to be. It moves us then to our subconscious, boundaries. That was the word I was looking for right here. Boundaries. We need those boundaries. And it says, the full moon eclipse right here says conclusions are within reach. And even though we're not in a full moon eclipse, we're in a supermoon, this is still full moon energy coming forward subconsciously and saying conclusions are within reach, but we need those boundaries. We need to know how we can be influenced, and especially in our future, because there is energy coming in here that can be very toxic for us and can be wrapped up in I care, right? And energy that really cares for us, that could be saying, I've given so much time. I've tried so hard. Now it is time for you to take all the advice that I've given you and see how you stand on your own 2 feet with it. So just be very mindful. This can be a bit confusing. It moves us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the 5 of Cups. Change your mind and change your life. there is something that we keep on focusing on. It's rather negative. It comes in threes. It can be through people that we focus on. It can be, yeah, which makes sense with the Three of Cups right here. It can be, you know, three ideas. It can be three whatevers, all right? It's what we're focusing on. It's taking our time. It's taking our energy. It's draining us. But the Two of Cups stands, right? And the Two of Cups is where we are, or is our suggested approach. And that's what we need to hold on to. That's the love. That's the healing. That's the bounty of self that we really need to take in. And it brings us then to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that is the Ace of Pentacles. There is something here that feels like a gift that's going to come in. It's just for us. It feels like it's just perfectly made for us. It's going to be leading us in a direction that we don't want to be going in. It sounds too good to be true, and that's because it is. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra energy, which is the universal light, which is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above our crown. There is a universal brilliance to us. There is a light that is shining on us, glowing forward, guiding us forward, that we need to connect with, that we need to, you know, kind of honor right here, right now. All right, Capricorn. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, the beauty, the intensity of this supermoon and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn. And may you have a blessed moon.